at 8:40 we'll have a
Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today's setting chapter, Canto 2, Chapter 7, verse 36 to 53. कालेन मिलितधियामवमृश्यं नृणां स्तोकायुषां स्वनिगमो बत दूरपारः आविर्हि सतस्तत्त्वानुयुगं स हि सत्यवत्यां वेदद्रुमं वीटपसो विपचेष्यति स्म.
Hare Krishna. The Lord himself, in his incarnation as the son of Satyavati, Vasudeva, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to be very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short life, and thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to circumstances of the particular age.
Text 37. देवद्विषाम्निगमवात्मनिष्ठितानां पुभिर्मयेन विहिताभिर्दृश्यतोद्भिः लोकान्तनन्तामतिविमोहमते प्रलोभं वेषं विधाय बहुभाषत औपधर्म्यम्.
When the atheists, after being well versed in Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles.
Yahiralaya suswatam nahare katha shuhu pashandino dvijajana vrushalanurdevaha swaha swadava shadite smagiro nayatra sasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante.
Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residence of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of the government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Sudra class or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser.
Sarge tapoham rishayo navaye prajesha sthane atadharmakam manavam vanishaha ante tvadharma haramanyavashashurada. Sorry, Mataji.
We can't see the text. You have to put it. Take
Text
it.
39. Yeah, text 39.
She's showing 38.
Yeah, we recite 38. Now 39, Mataji.
Put it up, you know.
Yeah.
Move it up.
Scroll it little bit up, Mataji. Yeah, text 39. Sarge tapo aham rushayana vaye pracheshaha sthane atadharmakam manvamaravanishah ante tvadharma ramanyavashashurada maya vibhutaya ima purushakti bhajah.
At the beginning of creation there are penance, myself, Brahma, and the Prajapatis, and the great sages who generate. Then, during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion, and then Lord Shiva and the atheists full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord.
विष्णोर्नुवीर्यगणनां कथमोऽहर्हतीह यपार्थवान्यपि कविभिर्ममेव्रजांसि च स्काव्यया स्वरः सलस्खलता त्रिपुष्टं यस्मात् त्रिसाम्य सदना दुर्कम्पयानम्.
Who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientist who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who, in the form of Trivikrama, moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet, Satyaloka, up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved.
Mataji, can you please scroll up, please?
अनन्तं विदाम्यहममिमूनयोग्रजास्ते मायाबलस्य पुरुषस्य कुतो वराये गायन् गुणन्दः सतताननादिदेवः शेषो अधुनापि समवस्यति नाश्य पारम्.
Neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Shesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces.
Text 42. येषां स एष भगवान् दयेदनन्तः सर्वात्मसंस्थितपदो यदि निर्व्यलीकं ते दुस्तरामतितरन्ति च देवमायां नेषां ममामिति धीः स्वश्रुगा लभक्षये.
But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome an insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so.
वेदाहं मङ्गपरमाशहि योगमायां यूयं भवश्च भगवान् तदेत्यवर्यः पत्नीमनुः स च मानुष तदात्मचाश्च प्राचीन बहिरुम्बुरङ्ग उत ध्रुवश्च इक्ष्वाकुरेलो मुचुकुन्दविदेहगाधे रध्वाम्बरीश सगरा गयना उत्साद्याः मान्धात्रलर्क सतत्वन्मनुरन्ति देवा देवव्रतबलिर्मूर्तयोरपि दिलीपः सोऽप्यतुक्तङ्कशिबिदेवलपीप्ललाद सारस्वतोद्वपराशरपुरीषिणाः ये अन्ये विभीषणहनुमुद्रे हनुमुद्रोपेन्द्रदत्त पार्थाशिषेण विदुरश्रुतदेववर्यः.
O Narad, although the potencies of the Lord are unknowable and immeasurable, still, because we are all surrendered souls, we know him. He acts through Yogamaya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to the all-powerful Shiva. the great king of the atheist family, namely Prahlada Maharaj, Swayambhu Manu, his wife Satarupa, his sons and daughters like Priyavrata, Uttanapada, Akuti, Devahuti, and Varusuti, Prachinbari, Ruba, Anga, and father of Veena, Maharaj Ruva, Ikshvaku, Alya, Muchakunda, Maharaj Janaka, Kadi, Raghu, Ambarisha, Sagara, Gaya, Nahusa, Mandata, Alarka, Satadanva, Anu, Rantideva, Bhishma, Bali, Amruttaraya, Dilipa, Sobari, Udanka, Sibi, Devala, Pipalada, Sarasvata, Udava, Parsara, Burisena, Vibhisana, Hanuman, Sukadeva Goswami, Arjuna, Artisena, Vidura, Sutadeva, etc.
Text 46. ते वे विदन्त्यतितरन्ति च देवमायां श्रीश्रूद्रगुणसाबरापि पापजीवः यदद्भुतक्रामपरायणशीलशिक्षात् कर्यार्चनापि किमुसूतधारणायै.
Surrender souls, even from groups leading sinful lives, such as women, the laborer class, the mountaineers, and the Siberians, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the science of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of the illusionary energy by surrendering unto the pure devotees of the Lord and by following their footsteps in devotional service.
शाश्वतप्रशान्तम् अभयं प्रतिबोधमात्रं सुत्तं समं सदसतः परमात्मतत्त्वं सप्तो न यत्र पुरुकारकवान् क्रियार्थो माया परेत्य विमुखे च विलज्जमान तदवे पदं भागवतः परमस्य पुंसो ब्रह्मेति यद्विदुरसहस्रसुखं विशोकम्.
What is realized as the absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without grief. That is certainly the ultimate phase of the Supreme Enjoyer, the Personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and is fearless. He is complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinction. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effect, in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities, and in whom the illusory energy does not stand.
शाद्रयकनियम्य यतयोऽयमकार्तहेति जह्युस्वराट इव निपन् नखन्नेत्रम इन्द्रः.
In such a transcendental state, there is no need of artificial control of the mind, mental speculation, or meditation, as performed by the jnanis and yogis. One gives up such processes as the heavenly king Indra foregoes trouble to dig a well.
श्रेयसामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहित तस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमे अनुविशीर्यमाणि व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विशीर्य एतजः.
The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by a living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, he is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body.
सोऽयं ते अभिहितस्तात् भगवान् विश्वभावनः क्षमाशेन हरिणान्यद् अन्यस्मात् सदसर्चयत्.
My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari, the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and nominal existences.
इदं भागवतं नाम यन्मे भगवतोदितं सः अहयं विभूतानां त्वम एतद्विपुलीकुरु.
O Narada, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in the summary by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it was spoken at the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself.
यथा हरौ भगवति नृणां भक्तिर्भविष्यति सर्वात्मनि अखिलाधारे इति संकल्प्य वर्णय.
Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human beings to develop a transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Hari, the supreme, the supersoul of every living being, and the sum and bonus source of all energies.
मायां वर्णयतो मुष्य ईश्वरस्यानुमोदतः शृण्वतः श्रद्धया नित्यं माययात्मानमुह्यति.
Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the second canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble
Hare
obeisance.
Krishna. Please
Please
accept,
forgive my mistakes.
forgive any mistakes. Sorry, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I think you're on mute.
Nice, Becky. Thank you so much for thinking. Oh, just chanted the verses. I think you already chanted. So just my apologies if I was on mute. Still reading. Okay, so we will recite 37. We will read the synonyms, translation purport, and similarly for 38 and 39. Devadisham Nigamavartmani Nishchitanam Purбhirmaye Navihitaభిరదృశ్యతుర్భిः लोकामृतां मतिविमोहन्मति प्रलोभम् वेषं विधाय बहुभाष्यत औपधर्म्यम्. Synonyms. Devadisham, of those who are envious of the devotees of the Lord. Nigama, the Vedas. The Vartmani, on the path of. Nishthitanam, of the well-situated. Purbihi, by rockets. Mahena, made by the great scientist Maya Vihitabhihi, made by Adrishyaturbihi, unseen in the sky. Lokan, the different planets. Nutam, of the killers. Mati Vimoham, bewilderment of the mind. Ati Pralobham, very attractive. Vesham, dress. Vidhaya, having done so. Bahu Bhashyate, will talk very much. Aupadharyam, but Aupadharmyam, sub-religious principles. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles. Purport. This incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali age. In the duration of life of one Manu, there are more than 72 Kali Yugas. And in one of them, the particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Lord Buddha incarnates at a time when the people are most materialistic and preaches common sense religious principles. Such ahimsa is not a religious principle itself, but it is an important quality for persons who are actually religious. It is a common sense religion because one is advised to do no harm to any other animal or living being because such harmful actions are equally harmful to he who does the harm. But before learning these principles of non-violence, one has to learn two other principles, namely to be humble and to be prideless. Unless one is humble and prideless, one cannot be harmless and non-violent. And after being non-violent, one has to learn tolerance and simplicity of living. One must offer respect to the great religious preachers and spiritual leaders, also train the sense for controlled action, learning to be unattached to family and home, and enacting devotional service to the Lord, etc. At the ultimate stage, one has to accept the Lord and become his devotee. Otherwise, there is no religion. In religious principles, there must be God in the center. Otherwise, simple moral instructions are merely sub-religious principles, generally known as upadharma or nearness to religious principles. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshudamitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayi Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padagamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Gunathanvitam Tam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Bhagava Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Hari Vanja Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuke Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhya Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adhigaura Bhaktivinoda Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Vinamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Matam Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langahite Girim Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dina Karanam Paramananda Bhagavan Shri Chaitanya. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you so much for being here on Sunday evening. It's a beautiful day today and lots of visitors at the temple, Bhaktivedanta manner. And it was amazing to see the deities. It's Ekadashi as well, most auspicious day. So we're discussing the various incarnations of the Lord that Lord Brahma is speaking about. And here we are in this verse. This is about incarnation of Lord Buddha. It's interesting. The description here doesn't match with the description that we are aware of Lord Buddha, who was preaching mostly non-violence. And the description here is about the atheist flying unseen in the sky, well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya. Sounds very relatable as to what's going on at the moment. But the Acharyas explain, Srila Prabhupada quoting Srila Jiva Goswami, that this Buddha incarnation was in a different Kali. And then all the cycles are being explained by Srila Prabhupada. There are actually for each Manu, there will be 72 Kali Yugas. There are 72 different Yuga cycles will be there for every Manu. There are 14 Manus in the day of Brahma, so it's a long time. And the cycles of the 4 Yugas keep going on and on and on. And Lord appears in various forms according to the need of the situation. And purpose is to establish religious principles and also be merciful to the devotees and vinashaya dushkatam, and highlight the miscreants and establish the religious principle. Three reasons Lord appears. But the most internal reason is obviously to give joy to the devotees and reclaim some more jivas by attracting them to his beauty, his pastimes, his name. So some important points here, which is very deep point, very deep. Prabhupada makes really very deep points in his purport if you just read carefully. And we can relate to all these principles more so in today's day and time. First of all, the concept of ahimsa. So we're going to talk more about the Buddha that we know of and what his preachings were. So ahimsa was his main preaching. But Prabhupada explained ahimsa is not really a religious principle itself. It is an important quality for a person who are actually religious. For someone who is religious, they will have one of the many qualities of a devotee is non-violent. We have a verse here, which is very famous verse that we always refer to, but always worth remembering, because otherwise we can get bewildered by so many things going on at the moment. We talk about unity, diversity, equality, environment, non-violence, non-cruelty. There are so many of these words which are always, the attraction that people have gone to the state that they don't want to talk about God. They want to talk about this good quality. Be a good person. Have this good quality. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need any other quality. You don't need to go to them, but you don't need to worship anyone. Just, I'm good, and people have this like significant population will just say that these qualities are just enough. That's all God is looking at. But that is not fully true. Partially true. But Prabhupada is making a point, those qualities automatically, coming in a devotee. So this is the verse, Shasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana. Sarver Gunestatra Samasade Suraha. Rav Abhaktasya Kuto Madguna. Mano Rathena Sati Dhavato Vahihi. Translation: all the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead possible. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor for maintaining his family, relative, must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. So all these so-called goodness are really Lord's external energy. We're not going to touch anywhere near the heart of the Lord, which is the internal energy. So how can there be any good qualities in such a man? And Srila Prabhupada defines, as quoting Chaitanya Charitamrita in this verse, first quality of him, he is kind to everyone, not just to my family member or my neighbor or my relative or to my town or to my village or to the country. No, he's kind to every living entity. That includes animals as well. So this automatically ahimsa is a quality, basic quality. He does not make anyone his enemy, truthful, so many beautiful qualities, and devotee automatically gets just by the fact that he's a devotee of the Lord. This is not to be achieved as such. A devotee is always engaged in the service of the Lord in various 9 different ways. We know about Navada Bhakti, and these qualities automatically appear. We can relate to all these qualities with devotees that we are close to or we hear regularly. He's most beautiful. He's poetic. He's friendly. See, devotees are so poetic, so friendly. Always singing, speaking so nicely. Expert. They're expert. These are the qualities. Doesn't need to be, saying that this is non-violence. One of the many qualities. So common sense. Prabhupada says common sense. These are the mainstream religion these days, which is just a common sense religion. Amazing. Prabhupada is such a beautiful poet. But he makes an interesting point, and when I was reading, like, unless one is humble and prideless, like, how do we answer? Humble means prideless, I thought. It's interesting, Prabhupada making steps, separating them, because someone could be humble, but they may be proud of their humility as well, all the things. Someone says, see how humble I am. Have you seen that? People may have that internal pride of a particular behavior. Devotee does not have any pride. So unless one is humble and prideless both, one cannot be harmless and non-violent. Pride can bring great violence. So these are the 2 qualities we must have. And after being non-violent, one has to learn to become tolerant and simplicity of living. That's also like simple living is such an important aspect. Prabhupada quotes again and again. Simplicity, not unnecessary engaging in worldly affairs. Mahaprabhu says to Raghunath Goswami, "Bhalo na khaibe, bhalo na paribe. Gram mein katha na sunibe, and gram mein katha na koribe. Bhalo na khaibe, bhalo na paribe. Don't eat very opulently. Don't dress very opulently. Do not engage in Gramya Katha. Don't listen and don't speak. Gramya Katha means talking about mundane affairs. What's happening in the politics, what's happening in this city, what's happening in that football, or what's happening here and there. Just a sheer waste of time and consciousness gets contaminated. So tolerance is required. One must offer respect to great religious preachers and spiritual leaders. And also train the sense for controlled action, learning to be unattached to family and home, dutiful but not attached, and acting devotional service to the Lord. These are wonderful qualities that Prabhupada is explaining so simply. And for us, practicing devotees to develop these qualities. At the ultimate stage, one has to accept the Lord and become his devotee. This is the real point. Otherwise, there is no religion. Because all the goodness, maybe someone will become pride with the goodness, or maybe get a better birth, but never anywhere near to the ultimate aim of human life, which is becoming a devotee of the Lord. And the real happiness, also satisfaction of the heart, also comes from this service of the Lord. Savai pamsam paro dharma yato bhakti rato saje ahai tukya pratihata yayatama suprasidati. So we may have developed lots of good qualities, but if we don't have, well, we have not developed the love and devotion for the Lord, we cannot develop this satisfaction. Yayatma suprasidati means someone who has this ahituki apratihata, means uninterrupted and unmotivated devotional service to the Lord. There cannot be satisfaction of the heart. That's why, in spite of all the materialistic achievements, rockets, various types of cars, flying cars, underground cars, overground cars, this and that, all the technology, nothing is giving satisfaction of the heart. That's why scientists have to create more, invest, research more, and the money will say invest more and get more money, more technology. Nothing, none of all this giving any satisfaction. That's why they have to engage in these activities more and more. So the devotees do not engage in these things. He's always just putting all these her endeavor into developing his sadhana bhakti to the Lord. And depending on the mercy of the Lord in his devotees. So otherwise, simple moral instructions are merely sub-religious. This is this verse. We go to the next verse, just conscious of time. This is verse 38. It's going to talk about Kalki. Yarhi aleshu api satam nahare kathashu pashandino dvijajana shalani devaha swaha swadavasad iti smangiro nayatra Shasta bhavishyati kaler bhagavan yugante. Translation. Therefore, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residence of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Shudra class, or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. We can relate to this a lot these days. Kali Yuga, you can experience all this. This is 5,000 years ago, saints are speaking about this. And this is Brahmaji speaking to Narad Muni in a particular incarnation of the Manu that we discussed before. So this is as we were talking about the cycle of the yugas, so this is what happens in every Kali Yuga. And we can see that's happening at the moment, how the government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from low-born Shudra class. Because why is this democracy? Everybody used to call it demon crazy way of electing the leaders and ministers, because the joke with democracy, majority of the people don't know what's good for them. So how can they actually elect the right minister or right leader? Purport. The symptoms of the worst condition of the material world at this last stage of this age, called Kali Yuga, are stated herein. The sum and substance of such condition is godlessness. Even the so-called saints and higher caste of the social orders, generally known as Dvija Janas, or the twice born, will become atheists. So how does some become Dvija Jana? Twice born? Can anyone say what does it really mean? No?
Take a second initiation. That's twice one.
Yes, isn't it? So that means there will be some guru and he's giving the second initiation, and someone is taking second initiation. After all those supposed to be, becoming Brahmanas, they were Dvijas. Dvija is the second birth. Dvi is two, Ja is birth, second birth. Even as far, so there will seem like the process will continue even in the future. But what we'll get is just they will be just atheists. One of my friends' son, he joined at a very prestigious university in UK. He joined his course in theology. And I knew this friend of mine was actually pure atheist. I was a bit surprised. I said, how did this happen? Like, I know you don't believe in God and your son have taken theology. What will it mean? Is he religious? Is your wife religious? He said, no. My wife is a doctor. We are not into religion, all these things. So I said, well, what's the purpose of theology then your son taking? Is he religious? He said, no, he does not believe in any religion. I said, then I don't follow, what does it mean? He said, yeah, actually I was also concerned. So I consulted the teachers there, professors. I was worried I will become, a theist by going to this university, doing a course. And then they said, be assured, whoever joins theology here, 99.99%, they become atheist. So what's the purpose of joining theology? And maybe I don't know sufficiently what they learn. But it is interesting. This is what will happen. All the degrees that people will take, the students will take, will actually just teach them how to become godless, to create a godless society. So carry on the path. As such, all of them will practically forget even the holy name of the Lord and what to speak of his activities. So devotees are always busy chanting the names of the Lord, holy names of the Lord. Nam, Gun, his activities, Roop, his form, and his pastimes, and his relationship with the devotees are always busy. Devotees are talking about those. But they will even forget the holy name of the Lord. So what to speak of his activities? This is the time that will come in the Kali Yuga. After 10,000 years of this golden period, Srila Prabhupada's books will be there. After that, this is the future. If we still want to hang around. The higher caste of society, namely the intelligent class of men guiding the destinies of the social orders, the administrative class of men guiding the law and order of the society, and the productive class of men guiding the economic development of the society must all be properly well versed in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, knowing factually his name, his quality, his pastimes, his entourage, paraphernalia, and personalities. The saints and the higher caste or the order of society are judged by their proportion of knowledge in the science of God, or Tattva Gyan. Tattva is truth, understanding of the absolute truth, and not by any kind of birthright or bodily designations. Someone may be born in a high class, may be born Brahman. That does not really mean anything. Or someone may be a PhD in theology, but he may have no idea of the religion. Such designations without any knowledge of the science of God and practical knowledge of devotional service are considered to be all decorations of dead bodies. This is the verse we have from the Bhagavatam. When there is too much inflation of these decorated dead bodies in society, there develop so many anomalies in the progressive, peaceful life of the human being. Because of the lack of training or culture in the upper section of the social order, there are no more to be designated as Dvijajanas or the twice born. The significance of being twice born has been explained in many places in these great literatures, and again one is reminded herein that birth executed by the sex life of the father and mother is called animal birth. But such animal birth and progress of life on the animal principles of eating, sleeping, pairing, and mating, without any specific culture of spiritual life, is called the Shudra life. Or to be more explicit, the uncultured life of the lower class of men. Just engaging just the 4 activities which even animals are engaged in. Give us from smallest ant to the biggest mammoth. They're all engaged in the same 4 activities. It is stated here in that the governmental power of society in Kali Yuga will be passed over to the uncultured, godless laborers class of men, and thus the Nidevas or the ministers of the government will be Vishalas, or the uncultured lower class men of society. One can expect any peace, no one can expect any peace and prosperity in a human society full of uncultured lower class of men. You can see the example, Prabhupada, this is like Prabhupada writing how many years ago? More than 50 years ago. And we can see this, every word of Prabhupada's purport is becoming more and more relevant for the society. As we move on, it is all absolutely crystal clear as to whatever he's writing is happening. We can see that. He developed so much faith in the words of Acharya and words of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is how we can, take benefit of the purports that Prabhupada's here. Develop that faith, increase that faith in the parampara, in the scriptures, in Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. This is how it becomes, the once the faith is become stronger, then we develop or progress more in bhakti. The symptom of such uncultured social animals are already in vogue. And it is the duty of the leaders of men to take note of it and try to reform the social order by introducing the principle of thrice-born men trained in the science of God consciousness. This can be done by expanding the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. In the degraded condition of human society, the Lord incarnates as Kalki avatar and kills all the demonic without mercy. That's why Srila Prabhupada took all the efforts to spread or expand the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. The only hope for the society is Srimad Bhagavatam. Next verse. Sarge tapo aham rishayo navaye prajesha sthane tadharma makhamanva amarvanisha ante dvadharma haraman vasasuradhya Maya vibhutaya imah purushakti bhajah. Translation. At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself Brahma, is Lord Brahma's 14, and Prajapatis, the great sages who degenerate. Then during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion. And then Lord Shiva and the atheist full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Power, the Lord. Purport. The material world is created by the energy of the Lord, which is manifested in the beginning of the creation by the penance of Brahmaji, the first living being in the creation. And then there are the 9 Prajapatis, known as great sages. In the stage when the creation is maintained, there are devotional service to Lord Vishnu or factual religion, the different demigods, the kings of different planets who maintain the world. At last, when the creation is preparing to wind up, there is first the principle of irreligion. Then Lord Shiva, along with the atheists, full of anger. But all of them are but different manifestations of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahadev, Shiva, are different incarnations of the different modes of material nature. So these all three are Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh are guna avatars. Yeah? The three gunas, three modes of material nature. Yes. Satoguna, Lord Vishnu maintains. Brahma, Lord in passion, Lord Brahma creates. And for destruction of the world, there has to be ignorance created. The Mahadev, Lord Shiva, takes care of all those activities. Vishnu is the Lord of the mode of goodness, Brahma is the Lord of the mode of passion, and Shiva is the Lord of the mode of ignorance. Ultimately, the material creation is but a temporary manifestation meant to give the chance of liberation to the conditioned soul who are entrapped in the material world. And one who develops the mode of goodness under the protection of Lord Vishnu has the greatest chance of being liberated by following the Vaishnava principles and thus being promoted to the kingdom of God. No more to return to this miserable material world. Yadgatvan nivatante tadhama paramamam. This is Lord Krishna's promise to all his devotees. So the whole world is designed. This is an amazing statement of Prabhupada. It's a temporary manifestation meant to give the chance of liberation to the conditioned soul. The Lord is sending He's coming himself, he's sending his devotees, empowered souls, Prabhupada. And in various ways, the Lord is, attracting the conditioned soul, all of us, conditioned souls, who are entrapped in the material world. Somehow develop the mode of goodness also is difficult, but develop the mode of goodness, and then under the protection. So the only sufficient, the goodness is not sufficient. There has to be in the association of devotees of the Lord. Then there is hope for being promoted to the kingdom of God. It's 8:40, now we're going to have bhajan. Unless there is some question, maybe we can take now or we start the bhajan.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my Dhanavad Pranam. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada. Wonderfully explained, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So, Prabhuji, for today's bhajan, we have our dear Hema Mataji singing a bhajan, and we've got Shailesh Prabhuji who'll be doing the English recitation. The bhajan is Yadi Gaura Na Hoito. Hema Mataji, are you online?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol Mataji. Can Shailesh Prabhuji do the English recitation first? Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Haribol.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If Lord Gaura had not appeared as the Yuga Avtara in this age of Kali, then what would have become of us? How could we have tolerated living? Who in this universe would have ever learned about the topmost limits of loving mellows that comprise the glory of Sri Radha? Who would have had the power to render aesthetic devotional service that follows in the footsteps of the damsels of Raj? Indeed, the clever expertise of the Vraj Gopis is a prerequisite for entering the supremely sweet forest of Vrinda Devi. Oh, please sing again and again of the glorious qualities of Lord Gauranga. Just try to keep your heart simple. Not even one person within this ocean of nescience has ever seen such a magnanimous personality as he. Even though I chant the holy name of Lord Gauranga, somehow I still have not melted in ecstasy. How then have I maintained the burden of this body? How has the Creator fashioned this body with a stone in place of Vasudev Kosha's heart?
Thank you. So it's a very appropriate bhajan for today because in the age of Kali Yuga, we have shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabhadanyaye Gaura Hari.
And he's the one who's given us the Mahamantra as well. So it's a wonderful bhajan by Vasudev Ghosha. It was written in Bengali. And yeah. Yadi go na hoito, tabe ke hoito, ke mone dharita de. Yadi go na hoito, tabe ke hoito, ke mone dharita de. राधार महिमा प्रेम रस सीमा जगते जानत के राधा महिमा प्रेम रस सीमा जगते जानत के यदि गो न होय तो ताबे के होय तो के मोन दरिता दे मधुर वृंदा विपिना मधुरी प्रवेश चतुरी सा मधुर वृंदा विपिना मधुरी प्रवेश चतुरी सा वरज युवती भावेर भगति सकति है तो का परज युवती भावेर भगति सकति है तो का यदि गो न होय तो ताबे के होय तो के मोन दरिता दे यदि गो न होय तो ताबे के होय तो के मोन दरिता दे गाओ गाओ पुना गौरांगे रागुना सरल है माना गाओ गाओ पुना गौरांगे रागुना सरल है माना हे भव सागरे मोने दयाले ना देखिए एक जान हे भव सागरे मने दयाले ना देखिए एक जान यदि गो न होय तो ताबे के होय तो के मोन दरिया दे गौरांग बोलिया नागेनु गलिया के मोने धरीनु दे गौरांग बोलिया नागेनु गलिया के मोने धरीनु दे देवासुरहिया पाषाण दिया खेमोन गरिया छे देवासुरहिया पाषाण दिया खेमोन गरिया छे यदि गो न होय तो ताबे के होय तो के मोन दरिता दे यदि गो न होय तो ताबे के होय तो के मोन दरिता दे गौरा हरि गौरा हरि गौरा हरि गौरा गौरा हरि गौरा हरि गौरा हरि गौरा गौर निताय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय जय गौरा निताय Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Tagore Prema Hari. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Hari Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So amazing, so amazing. I was fully engrossed. I was almost dancing. Thank you so much.
It's such an appropriate bhajan for today's class.
Yes, yes.
You gave so
absolutely.
beautifully, Prabhu. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
uplifting the whole.
Thank you. Hari Krishna. Hari
Thank you so
Krishna.
much. Jai, Jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, devotees. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious week ahead. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Thank you. Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Devotees ki jai. Thank you.